Hi, man with eTrailer. If you have a 2024 Ram 1500 and you're looking for something that's going to get you through those moderate snow and ice conditions and it's going to be really easy to get on your tires, then the Pewag servo tire chains with the self-tensioning device is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. And we're going to have this on tire size 265, 70, R17, and this will fit a variety of other sizes. That's just the size we have today. Now we're going to have this on the rear axle as what the manual recommends. Now, if you are worried this won't fit your vehicle, you can actually plug in your vehicle's information into a fit guide to find the right fit for you. Now we can take a look at the specs. So the first thing I'm going to point out is going to be these links themselves. They're going to be made from a titanium alloy steel, so they're going to be very durable, and they're going to last you a long time since they're weather resistant. That square design is going to give them some extra bite to get through that snow and ice. And we're going to have this ridge in the center. That's just a little bit more traction for us too. And speaking of traction, we're going to have a diamond pattern to these. And with a diamond pattern, that's giving us more surface area on the tire, in turn giving us more traction. And what I like about these is they're going to be Class S. And Class S is really important for our vehicle today because we really don't have too much clearance behind our tire. So you don't have to worry about this making contact with anything, especially with the way this tightens down. The way this is going to tighten down is via this self-tensioning device right here. It's a really simple device. All you have to do to activate it is turn a knob. To really show you what I'm talking about now, right now it's in the drive mode, so if I try to pull on this, it ain't going to move. It's actually focused on tightening, pulling out any slack you have, because what happens is when you drive, a lot of times your chains are going to shift, and once they shift, they're going to loosen up. But if I ever want to take it off, I just got to turn this here. I can pull on this now. That's going to give me some slack so I can take it off. And these chains are going to come in this pretty small case. It's going to feel pretty durable too, even though it's made out of the softer material. So it's going to fit really nicely underneath your back seats. And if I open this up, you notice we do have these pockets. I'm a big fan of pockets for chains because they're going to keep everything separated so you don't have to worry about them getting tangled up and becoming a real pain to take out. Now, in my opinion, I think this is a great chain if you're looking for something to give you a little bit more peace of mind, because there's plenty of other chains that do have some type of assisted tensioning on there. Now, the drawback to that, though, is when you're driving down the road, especially on a vehicle today, you're going to have to check this a lot more often, because what can happen is things could loosen up a little bit more and make contact. Now, with these, since they are constantly applying tension to your chains, I still recommend checking them every now and then, but you don't have to do it as often. And these are going to be great because they're a really easy installation too. Now, the one thing I do have about these that I'm not a big fan of is that tensioning device, because while it is super simple to use, since it has this really slim cable, what I find that can happen sometimes is it can get caught up on itself. And that's something you really don't want to face on those colder days, especially this getting tangled up inside itself. So if you want something that won't have that issue, then I'd recommend checking out the Koenig self-tensioning tire chains, because that's going to be more of a thicker cord that comes out with a hook, and you don't have to twist anything at the top. You just have to pull on it. But really, it's just going to depend on what your preference of tire chain is, because this will be made out of a little bit of a better material. Now, if you are curious to see what this installation looks like, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. To start off our installation, I like to lay out our chains, grab some gloves just to make it a bit easier. And if you are doing this for the first time, I recommend staying home, trying this out, because you don't want to try to figure this out on the side of the road in the middle of a blizzard. But what we're looking for is just a couple things. We're just making sure we don't have any damages to our links, nothing's twisted up, and everything's in the right orientation. So what I mean by that is we're going to have these hooks right here. We want to make sure those are facing down so they're away from our tire. We also want to make sure this gray cable is closest to the tire. And on the other side, we're going to have these black links. Then the last thing I like to check is here in the center. I want to make sure nothing's connected here. And if nothing's connected, I'm going to push everything to the relative sides. And a good way you can do this is just kind of slide it behind your tire. Now, if you're in an area that you can't really slide it, you might have to just chuck it behind there. And once you get it behind, you just reach back here and pull the other end through, making sure everything gets across. From this point, I want to make sure everything's even, nothing's tangled. And then I'm going to make my connection at the top, back, for a tire. That's really just going to consist of this metal ball going into this channel, sliding into place just like that. And we're going to maintain control over chains and drape them over the front of our tire. Try making sure everything's even, everything's getting across. Then we're going to make a connection here. We're going to grab one of these red links, one of these red hooks, put them together. Now this is hanging a little bit low, so I'm just going to adjust this some, pulling it up a bit so it's centered on our tire on both sides. Then coming down to the bottom, I'm going to make sure everything's getting across. So right now, I can't get this to reach. So I'm actually going to have to go to our self-tensioning device. So how you do this is, we just need to switch this over because right now, we don't have it in the open position. Or actually we do, we just need to make sure it's not in the dry position. You can tell because there's a little knob there. Once it's in the dry position, you can't pull on it. So I'll switch that over. Now I can. That's going to give me a lot more slack. So I can pull this out and connect these two pieces. Just that red hook onto that silver metal bar. Just get a little more slack. Connect it on there. Now that I have it connected on there, I'm going to go back up to our tensioning device. All I have to do is just turn it, it'll tighten down. I also like to kind of pull in it a bit more, just in case there's some loose spots on it. You get all that slack out of here. And once it feels pretty tight, you'll just repeat that process on the other side. But that's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Pewag tire chains on our 2024 Ram 1500. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.